All right. So the grazing mentorship program, when we originally envisioned getting this thing going, we were looking to the OFCAF, and that's the On-Farm Climate Action Fund. So that's the $200 million that Minister Bibeau announced just prior to the last federal election. We said, hey, let's take, to Janice's, comments in the chat, let's take the work that we done with Jim Stone and others back in 2006 to 2008 on the original grazing mentorship program. Let's reinvigorate that program. Let's update those materials. Let's get out and train a new generation of mentors. The original intent was to apply to the OFCAF to develop and deliver that training. In the meantime, Farmers for Climate Solutions came along with this other source of funds and said, why don't we kickstart this effort? Luckily, we had started the process. We were able to get out and get after it. So what has recently been announced is $10 million for the CFGA to deliver on investments at the farm level to actually implement the grazing plan. So where the grazing mentorship program will train the mentors and give them the tools they need to go and work one-on-one with the growers, the OFCAF funding will provide direct cash support for farms to implement their grazing plans. This is the caveat. We haven't got a contribution agreement signed as of yet. We are working on it. We just heard back from Ag Canada today on our last tranche of questions. Carleen, hopefully you saw that. It went to you and Bruce. So we are hoping that a contribution agreement is imminent. So the OFCAF program deals with 3 BMP areas: nitrogen management, cover cropping, and then advanced grazing systems or rotational grazing. So we have been offered the opportunity to work in Quebec, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC, specifically on the grazing management BMP. So the way we've got it designed is in 2 phases. The first bucket of money, there's $1,500 available by farm to design, develop a grazing management plan. So that's where it's important, as we've walked through our grazing mentorship program, we're building that grazing management plan template. Module 8 is how do you take that plan and apply for funding? So that becomes the intake process for the OFCAF that we are generating. I will note as well, and Carleen alluded to it, we had good conversations with Ontario yesterday. We're talking with BC and Alberta, folks down here from the Maritimes, of using a consistent intake process. And so this grazing plan template is likely going to be a foundational document for numerous provinces to deliver the grazing component of OFCAF, even though the CFGA is only active in that Quebec, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Quebec marketplace. So once you get that grazing plan developed and into the system, then we're offering up to $15,000 as a one-to-one match to implement your grazing system, and that includes primarily, or at first, it includes the following: interior cross fences to break up your continuously grazed system into paddocks, or further subdivide. If you've got 4 paddocks and you want to move to 8, that is an eligible expense. That's the first piece. The second piece is, if you want to move your grazing system into your annual cropland and integrate that as part of your rotation, perimeter fencing is eligible, but it has to be very clearly articulated in your grazing plan that is part of your long-term process. The third component, water systems. If a water system is your limitation to moving to a rotational grazing system, it gets built into the grazing plan. It is an eligible expense. Now, the other component to eligible expenses are things that are purchased, right? So we're looking at wire, insulators, energizers, water systems. Things that are not eligible: fence posts, installation labor. We're counting those as the match. So it's a 50-50 match, right? We'll buy the wire and the insulators and the energizers. You buy the posts and install them. We're going to count that as your match on 50-50. So this is originally done for Quebec. So what is the benefit of the OFCAF program for all of the provinces in Canada? Well, we're getting that, first of all, awareness out there. We're getting those grazing plans built, and then we're bringing the dollars to implement. So talked about carbon earlier and enhanced carbon sequestration. That's the ultimate benefit for all of us, as well as getting advanced grazing out there and rolling. So what are the program targets? In Alberta, we're targeting 126 farms over 2 years. See that, 2 fiscal years. 72 in British Columbia, 82 in Quebec, and 90 in Saskatchewan. These are roughly built on where or the number of farms within each of those provinces. So what are the roles for each? So our participants, those are our primary producers. So they're implementing those plans on the farm and reporting back on their activities. Our provincial partners, so the forage councils, helping us to run the programs, develop and deploy the mentorship program, and then seeking to support that activity across the landscape. You got the mentors that are going to help to develop those grazing plans and provide a bit of adjudication, I guess, on those applications as they come in, to make sure that those plans conform to the templates that and the program guidelines that have been laid out. And then the auditor. So we will be we've built in a 10% audit review process for each of the farms. So what was our total again, Carleen? 370. So we'll be auditing 10% of those. So what are the timelines? So the training is, we started in the Maritimes. Our second session is tomorrow. We're looking at April 19th and 22nd for the national training. No, 19th and 21st. No, 19th and 22nd, right? That's when we're going to be offering up the mentor training. So Steve is going to get together for those 2 4-hour sessions. The farmer training is going to come as a follow-up of that, get those mentors out, putting on those workshops and engaging our growers and building those grazing plans throughout the summer. And hopefully, in a good chunk of cases, we're going to need it, getting those plans out there and deployed and getting some dollars spent. Verification again, so we'll be out this fall and throughout to the fall of November 2023 to validate that action has been taken. So again, this project is in development. We're just working on a contribution agreement. We're working through the individual provinces to understand what needs to happen. I think we're feeling good, working closely with Serge and his team. We've got ongoing meetings in Alberta. Been working with Ryder Lee and team, Saskatchewan Cattlemen's Association and other partners there in Saskatchewan and the BC Agriculture Innovation Foundation and BC Forage Council have been fantastic partners all the way through. So we've got a solid partnership plan rolling with them. So I guess the final comments on this is stay tuned. Steve, Carleen, Bruce, and I are working diligently to get these things pulled together, and we're gonna be ready to hit the ground running. Any questions?
There was a couple in the chat, Cedric.
So Karen comments here, we are everything through the OFCAF. They specifically identified the BMPs that were eligible based on having the coefficients in the national inventory report. So we have been chained to that output to estimate our greenhouse gas reductions. Other questions? Yeah, so some of the questions here, I guess, are some back and forth. Steve, maybe you've tackled these, like these ones from Jack Kyle. I think to that point, Jack, we need to make sure that we're working with Patricia and the crew from Ontario Forage Council to make sure that we are providing proper training and support for folks ongoing. I think it's important to note too, to Carleen's presentation, that the mentorship program, if I'm thinking back to the original, it was kind of a one and done on the training. And so we were left on our own to fly. This one is going to be providing ongoing support and mentorship and engagement with the mentors so that we can facilitate their growth and understanding and skills development, so that that trust relationship that you're referring to is cemented.